front row fans here. We're about to go meet Pooch, who is the tech for Death from Above 1979, City and Color, and Alexisonfire. Let's go talk to him. So you're a music tech. Tell us a little bit about your story and how you became a music technician.
Okay, well, I'm a guitar tech, stage tech, jack of all trades tech, on tour for bands. Work right now with Death from Above 1979 for years, City and Color, Alexisonfire.
Amazing.
I've worked with Tom Cochran, Sheepdogs. I've toured with Courtney Love, a lot of different places. And I started doing this touring wise on the road relatively late. I guess I would have been in my mid-30s. I started because I was an actor. When I say actor, I use that term loosely. I was basically a prostitute for products, commercials, but it was a living. And while doing that creatively, I made music and wrote and played. And then I found I was just tearing apart guitars and fixing them way more often than I was actually playing them. But I did like the creative outlet still. At one point, I started working for a backline company that just rents out gear at larger volumes for festivals and stuff, and kind of took it seriously and learned a lot. Didn't get paid a lot. Didn't get paid often, but when I did, it was good. And then I just met people, and after a while, people were like, "Hey, we could use someone like you on the road with us. Do you think we could hire you? We could try you out."
Were you always based in Toronto?
I was. I did before. I lived in Germany, in Berlin, Germany, for about a year. In between it all, I took off, and when I was there, I actually toured. I had friends who were coming over, like, "Hey, we hear you're living in Europe. Do you want to come on the road with us?" Jim Boskill from Blue Rodeo, one of them, who was one of my closer friends. He would be doing his solo act or his rock act, and he's like, "Hey, you want to come and help TM and drive and hang out?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm here anyway."
So you built your network over the years and kind of got into that into the industry that way. Okay.
And some acts just don't tour that often. Like I said, Courtney Love, I toured with her 10, 12 years ago. And that's probably the last time I know of her actually touring with a band, which was amazing.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It's still like probably one of the more surreal moments just because of where an artist like that sits. Yeah, my age, you know, when those records came out, I was a teenager, and that was, where am I?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a very word of mouth business. Who you are carries a lot more weight than what you can do.
Okay. Oh, interesting. Yeah, okay. And you do all guitar, bass, and drums?
Yeah, primarily my guitars and basses. Anything stringed is something I will always find. There is quite a few drum techs that are more dialed in for drums. When it comes to someone like Death from Above, I know those guys. I know the nuances. I know what Seb likes. Seb is such a busy guy on stage. He's singing, he's following track and click, and he's playing at the same time. That a lot of what he's doing is memory. Really, he's got to do this while he's looking in the crowd and singing into microphones. So
a lot at once.
It's a lot.
It's a lot at once.
But also a lot of what you're doing is kind of how do you fit personality-wise in the scheme of things,
and who you trust,
and who you trust, and also you don't necessarily have to be an awesome person or a horrible person. It's how you mix with that particular group of people, right? You're hired by the band. When City and Color hires me, I represent them. Yeah. So how do I treat the people I work with, the people around me, and the people I see just for the day? Yeah.
Especially when you're giving out picks at the end of the show.
Hey,
that's how we met, right?
That's how we met. Yeah.
And, that sounds really interesting. Do you have any stories to share with us when you were on tour with any of the bands? Or
now there is an unwritten rule that what happens on the road stays on the road. All right. It's not all silk scarves and cocaine like it seems to be in the glory era. I don't think it ever was that. It never was for me. But it's tough. Like I have so many interesting stories of meeting people or randomly meeting people, and these meetings are always so normal and casual. There's very, very little, oh my God, right? Yeah. Most of my oh my God moments were, outside of me working. Yeah. But the weirdest story that always rings in my head was about 7 years ago, we were taking a bus with DFA from here to Milwaukee Summerfest, and we had a bus and the crew and the band, and we had to cross in Sarnia. And of course, as per usual, you come out of the bus, they search the bus, and there was a border guard, probably about my age. He didn't really look like much of a guard. He reminded me of an SNL character, but he had all of our passports open, and he had them all 7 of them open like this while the other guys were searching the bus, and everyone kind of passed by him like he may have been a bit of like, oh, this guy, the guy. Okay. Yeah. And so he starts talking to us. He's like, well, so what kind of music is it? And he had this really like North Michigan or Dakota, Minnesota accent. Yeah. And he's like, and someone just goes, rock and roll. And he says, yeah, I went and saw Jason Bonham Experience, Led Zeppelin Experience with my wife. She likes that stuff. But I like newer stuff, I like New Order. And we we're just like, more stuff, new order. New order's been around for 45 years, I think. I'm like, we're like, is this so weird? So we're just, and I'm watching Jesse and Seb and the band and the crew. They're just like looking at each other like, I'm not saying anything. I'm not
you don't want to make conversations. Yeah.
And then he starts telling a story about how they're at a show, him and his wife. They had a few drinks and were having a good time. And he said, waiting for the show to go on, he started cursing here and there. He's like, F this, and this is great, and this is effing amazing. And he said his wife turned to him and went, honey, keep it down with the language. There's kids here. And he's like, oh, anyway. And we're still like, where's he going with this? And this story is a lot longer. I tell long stories, but this story is like, we're watching the dogs go in and out of the bus. We're watching the people come, and finally, people come off the bus, walk by, and they go, oh, they're good. And he stops the story, because obviously they've heard this story a million times. Then when they're out of earshot, he continues the story.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're watching the show. We're having a good time. After that happens, my wife, during the middle of the show, reaches down the front of my pants. And I can just see Jesse's face. He can't stop laughing. Like, we're looking for the candid camera.
Yeah.
And I go, honey, what are you doing? And she said, well, we're at the show. We're having a good time.
Yeah.
I give you a hand job. And at this point, we can't stop laughing. Like, we're blowing up.
Curse, but she's
okay.
And
he's like looking at us like dead serious, and like not even like I'm trying to make you laugh, not trying to crack us. He's like, so, and he continues the story, and he comes back into work the next day, and he tells his colleagues, he says, and they're like, well.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, what? He's like, well, did you take the hand job?
Yeah.
And he goes, no, I didn't take the hand job.
Yeah. This
is 12-15 minutes into the story. We're on the ground laughing. He's dead serious. He goes, get out of here. Waves his arm. So basically no, anytime someone says no or something, that shows up in our camp. But we went back on that bus and we were like, what just happened? Happened?
Yeah.
It was like something out of
like Twilight Zone or something, like a weird time warp.
Or those cop shows where they're like spoof, like Super Troopers or shit like that. We're like, who is this guy?
Yeah,
like,
it doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't make any sense. But we were trying not to make any fuss or laugh or because any excuse they have, you're like, okay, cool. We don't. They have more power than God.
They're maybe testing you, right? So you had to be.
But that story will always go down as something.
What happened that day?
What happened? Yeah.
Well, besides music, what else do you do that you can share with us today?
When I'm not building things, road cases for people I know or tour with, or custom cases for instruments and guitars or whatever, I build random stuff. This was kind of my introductory foray into building cases, was building myself a workbox, and then with leftover parts, building something for our coffee machines on the road. I went for City and Color.
City and Color uses this?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. And this is a different one, but they have it out. But that's the machine we use in Europe because it's 230 volt. But it just became a thing. I posted it, and then a few people were like, I want one.
Yeah.
And of course, when 10 people say they want one, 2 actually buy one.
Oh,
but
really? But maybe more people will buy now.
But it's just, I know there's one with the National Camp. There's one with Maggie Rogers Camp. My friend Joe Lemble, who works in merch, I know he bought a couple for people he tours with. It's cool gift. It's just one of those things. It's like you got so many cases protecting so much bullshit.
Yeah.
You might as well have something protecting
a good morning wake up.
The only thing that really matters in the morning.
And
other than that, I do woodworking. I build furniture. I'd never say
guitars,
no. I repair guitars. No one should see that.
No.
There's always something connected with music or people I know in music.
You build furniture as well, I think, or
I build furniture.
Pieces.
I try and build as much furniture as I can. Usually things that kind of a mid-century inspired and things that work with record players, basically, or records, because I feel like there's just a small market, but there's a shortage of things that actually hold records.
People are still buying a lot of records today. They were saying it's really big in the industry. I don't think they're ever going to go away. So
it won't. And it's good to know. And it's like there's the type of thing that you can hold and look at, and to have it on display. I think more and more people are going to start designing their rooms around
records.
Where they actually listen to music
from the start to the end. No skipping.
You got 20 minutes to do your dishes while you're listening to that side, because you're going to have to, especially if it's a manual turntable, you're going to have to go stop it. So I still tour, and I try and make as much stuff as I can. This is my creative world at the same time, and a very frustrating world at the same time. Right?
Well, thank you so much.
No, thanks so much.
We'll see you on tour. What's the next show you're going to be at? Or
next show, I think I'm going to be with City and Color and next month. I think there's some sort of event. I'm not sure what it is. They put it on the computer app, and I just look at it.
That's how it works.
And then I just go.
Okay, well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
That's Front Row Fan.